Alright, so today we're going to be going over 10 teams in college football, and we're going to talk about whether they're overrated or not. These are 10 teams that are potentially overrated, and I'm not going to think that all of these teams are overrated, but many people do say these teams on this list are overrated. We're going to go ahead and get started with Texas. Texas is our first team on this list. They had a great season in 2018, but I feel like people are kind of overreacting to that. Yeah, they had a great season. But really, is Texas back for the 2019 season? Are they really going to be the team that people think that they are? This is a really tough question. It's really tough to say. Of course, Texas had that Georgia win at the end of the season. In that game, I really could see. That talent on this Texas team is outstanding. But the thing is, though, is Sam Ehlinger not enough? Because Sam Ehlinger is an excellent quarterback. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. Right now. But the thing is, though, they're losing a couple of big players. I believe they're losing their best wide receiver. That is going to be a huge loss. They're losing several other players too. It's going to be tough for this Texas team to get over them. But the thing is about Texas, the key question is, are they going to be able to get over those losses? I believe that they will be able to. I think this is going to be a team that should be at the very top of the Big 12, along with Oklahoma. One of those two will likely win the Big 12, I think. But Texas, yes, they will be a great team. But how great will they really be? How high should Texas be ranked in preseason? You're seeing many polls that have Texas in the top 10, and I think that's very reasonable. But I wouldn't put them in a top 5. Of course, I made a couple of months ago. I made a rankings list, preseason rankings, and I believe I put Texas at number 5 in that list. That is a little too high, and I know now I would probably put Texas probably right around the 10 mark. I wouldn't put them much higher yet. But yeah, this is definitely a team that I think if they can get started pretty well in the year and not have any bad losses, this is a team that I think can go very far next season. Next up, we've got Oregon. This is also another team that is very hyped up for the 2019 season, mainly because of who they're returning. They're returning Justin Herbert. He is an excellent quarterback, and I think he's got potential to win the Heisman next year. They went 9-4 in the 2018 season, but really, how high can Oregon get this season? I think that they can definitely get 10 wins. 10 wins is very reasonable for this Oregon team next season. I could see them getting 11. Of course, in the Pac-12, it's probably the weakest Power 5 conference. So we'll have to see. Every loss in the Pac-12 that Oregon's going to have is going to be very detrimental to their capabilities of going to the college football playoff. I think that I think they may be up there. I don't know how high they're going to get. I think people are overreacting in the fact that they're ranking Oregon in the top 15 or so in the preseason. Of course, this is an Oregon team. They weren't really ranked a whole lot last season. But I do believe that Oregon will be able to be a top 15 team for the majority of next season. But I'm just not sure if they should be ranked at that point in the preseason. Next up, we've got Virginia, another team that continues to improve gradually. This is a team they've done pretty well. Of course, 5 or 10 years ago, Virginia would be the team that would always get beat up on. They were like Kansas. They'd just be terrible. But Virginia is improving over the last few years. But are they overrated? Because people are saying that this is a top 15 team, top 20 team. I don't believe that Virginia is that good yet. I think that they're going to be a top 25 team next season. I wouldn't be surprised to see them ranked in many polls. But I don't really believe that Virginia is going to get much higher than that. Are they worthy of an ACC championship? In their division, they have to beat out Miami. They got to beat out Duke, all those teams. It is going to be tough for Virginia to do that next year. I think Miami is going to end up going to the ACC championship, but Virginia is definitely going to be close to it. I think Virginia will be right up there for a potential spot at the championship. But they do have a few tough losses in some areas, but they still have a lot of potential. This is a team that definitely has a lot of potential for next season. This is a team that I'm definitely excited to see how they do. It's really up in the air for Virginia next year. Next up, we got Nebraska. Now, this is a team that went 4-8 in the 2017 and 18 seasons, coming off of 2 pretty difficult years. Nebraska isn't really used to having years like that. The defense needs improvement, but their offense looks great next year. With Scott Frost in there, I think he's an excellent coach, and this team is going to be great in the future. How is this team going to do next year? I mean, I've heard on social media people saying, "Oh, Nebraska's going to get 10 to 11 wins next season." Many of their fans are saying that. I think that's a little high. 10 to 11 wins. I mean, 10 is maybe in a million years it's possible next year, but I do believe. I mean, they were 4-8 for 2 years in a row. This is still a team that is in the rebuilding stage of things. This is Scott Frost's second year. And I don't think he's going to pull a UCF here and go undefeated in his second season. But I really do believe that Nebraska is capable of getting maybe 7 to 9 wins next year. I think that's probably the ballpark where I think Nebraska will be in. They're definitely going to make it to a bowl game. A great year for Nebraska, I think, would be 7 to 9 wins and get a bowl win. That would be awesome for Nebraska. But I really don't believe that Nebraska is going to go much higher than that. They may be ranked in some parts of the season if they do get to that 9-win mark. But I don't see them getting ranked really into the top 20 for a good chunk of the season. I think they'll be ranked kind of in the bottom. They'll be in and out of it a few times. But I can't see them being in consistently. How many wins will Nebraska get? Well, as I said, probably 7 to 9. What makes Nebraska a legitimate contender? I mean, their offense definitely is what could make them a contender, especially for the Big Ten Championship next season. I mean, they do have potential to make that. If they can get 9 wins, 10 wins possibly, they can make the Big Ten Championship, but that's going to be pretty difficult next season as well still. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. I believe they got that one quarterback, Adrian Martinez. He's excellent. I believe he's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. That kid's got some potential. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does. But next up, we got Texas A&M, very favored for the 2019 season. You see a lot of people hyping up this team, and many people are saying that this is going to be a surprise team for the college football playoff next year. I mean, they do have lots of talent, and Jimbo Fisher, and this is going to be a great team in the future. But the thing is, though, they've got such a tough schedule. I think people are overlooking that. I mean, when you're looking at their schedule, they've got, I believe they got Clemson at the beginning of the year, and then they have to play some of the toughest SEC opponents. It could be a tough year for Texas A&M. I think that 10 wins is definitely possible for this team, but I think 9 is probably your most reasonable bet for Texas A&M next season. I don't expect them to do anything crazy, but I do expect them to contend in the SEC. Next, we've got LSU, and this is going to be a great team, but are they really worthy of the college football playoff? I mean, I think LSU is a top 10 team. I think they are, but I mean, they are ranked 10th in the ESPN FPI for the early parts of the year. But I don't know how high they're going to get next season. I mean, you still got Alabama in the way. It's going to be tough for LSU next year, but I do believe that they're going to contend for it, and they're going to be in the mix. They are younger in some parts of their team. They also are experienced in others. So, I mean, LSU, this is an experienced team, and they do have a good chance, I think, to contend, especially in the SEC once again. Penn State is next. Another Big Ten team. This is a great team the last few years. I mean, they've really done well. And this is a younger team coming into the 2019 season. That is what I think is going to be their biggest difficulty this year. How high should Penn State really be ranked? The ESPN FPI has them at 13 coming into this season. I think that is a little high. I would put them probably right around the 18 to 20 mark. I wouldn't put them at 13 quite yet. That's kind of a big jump considering how many players that this Penn State team is losing. But how high can Penn State get to be in 2019? I think it's possible that they could contend in the Big Ten. I mean, the thing is that they're in the same division as Ohio State, Michigan. They're going to have to beat them out if they're going to get a chance at the Big Ten championship game. But I mean, they will contend for that. But it's going to be tough to say how high they're really going to get next year. It'll be interesting to see how Penn State does. Really looking forward to watching this team. Iowa State is next. They lost both of their top wide receivers and running backs. But how will Iowa State end up in the Big 12 in 2019? I think that this is going to be a team that possibly can finish in the top 4 in the Big 12. I mean, I think it's very possible that they finish third. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas are your top 2. I think Iowa State does get that 3 position. It is very possible that they do that. They've been much better the last couple of years compared to the past. I mean, Iowa State would always get trampled on before the last couple of years when they've really been able to improve. Matt Campbell, their coach over there, definitely he's going to be a great coach for that program. He's already been doing a great job It'll be interesting to see how Iowa State does, but they are a little bit overrated in the fact that they've lost a few players, a few key players, especially on the offense. Another interesting team to see in 2019 for sure. Next, we've got Tennessee. They were 5-7 in the 2018 season, and this is another very hyped up team. I'm seeing a few polls where I have Tennessee. I think there was one poll where they had Tennessee like ranked 15th. I don't know if that was ESPN FPI, but I saw it somewhere, and I was like, man, that is extremely high. I don't think Tennessee is that good yet. This is Jeremy Pruitt's second year. I think they'll improve. I think that Tennessee will be a bowl team next season. I think they will get to at least 7 wins, but I don't expect them to do anything crazy. I don't expect to see Tennessee in the polls really anytime next season. The main reason why they're on this list is because a few people are saying that Tennessee is going to be a big jump next year. And also another fact is that one poll where I saw them in the top 15. That's a big mark for Tennessee, especially at the beginning of the season. And this turnaround, it will take much longer than just 1 year rank for Tennessee. I mean, they were already in a deep position before Pruitt arrived. I think Pruitt, though, he's definitely a great coach. This coach has a ton of potential, I think, for Tennessee, and he will lead them to some pretty big bowl games, possibly an SEC championship down the road. We will have to see. Tennessee does have a bright future. Michigan is next, and ESPN favors Michigan the most in the Big Ten. That's one of the main reasons why they're on this list. They think Michigan is going to win the Big Ten next season, and I think that is definitely possible. I mean, you've got the Ohio State, Penn State also in your division. You're going to have to beat them out. I mean, you can't forget about the Big Ten West either. You got Nebraska, you got Minnesota. Minnesota, I mean, you don't really expect them to be as good, but I do expect Minnesota to be pretty good next year. Wisconsin, but I do believe Michigan is going to contend for that top position for the Big Ten championship. But we'll have to see. I do think Ohio State is still my favorite, even though they have a new coach. I think Ryan Day is going to do a great job there. I still think Ohio State, my bets are on Ohio State to win the Big Ten next year still. Lots of talent, but how much more will Michigan rise? I mean, last season, a few people were saying, oh, Michigan's going to be a college football playoff team, and I think that was definitely possible. I think that they've got a possibility of that this year as well. I mean, Shea Patterson is an excellent quarterback. But the thing is, though, I don't know if they're going to be able to beat out any teams like Alabama or Clemson. It's going to be tough to say for that, for sure, if this team is top 10 or not next season. I think they'll be in the top 10 maybe a couple times, but I can't see them being in the top, per se, 10 consistently. Well, anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you guys all for watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this. This is kind of an interesting video. I bet we're going to have a lot of different opinions. Did I miss anyone on this list, or should I have cut off a couple people or a couple teams on this list? You guys let me know. I appreciate hearing your guys' thoughts. Well, anyway, thank you guys all for watching, and stay tuned for more from ASC.